We've got some DYP action for you as we open up the elimination round here on a Friday night in Baneberry, Tennessee. That's Joe Rhodes, Jonathan Moore on the right side. That's Trevor Park, Al Najjar on the left. Best 2 games out of 3 with a winner advancing to the semifinals. Of course, here at the Warrior events, we play the Swiss system. Each team playing, I believe, 5 qualifying rounds. And the matchups being adjusted between rounds. In other words, the top performers tend to match up against each other, as do the lower, as you move along in the qualification rounds. Eventually you come up with your top 8, which we have now. One lead early on. Now make it 2-2. Is Trevor able to tie it up? Taken away here by Rhodes. Joe out of Kansas City, Missouri. Longtime player on the professional tour. I think we've known Joe since he was maybe 14 or 15 years old, playing on the Tornado Tour with his father Kent, his brother Chris. Now you consider him a veteran. A very good player. And that one sliced down the middle nicely by Najjar, out of Southern California. 3-2 lead right now for Al Najjar and Trevor Park. Park and Najjar up 4 to remember its best 2 out of 3 in the elimination rounds. Getting ready for a big week of table soccer, both here in Baneberry, Tennessee, and then next week, of course, we'll be live with you starting Thursday afternoon from Lexington, Kentucky, the Tornado World Championships. And there's Jonathan Moore with a big pull shot from goal. One picked up by Rhodes, who can tie this first game up at 4, shooting against Trevor Park, and he does. We're considering the switch on the right side. They decide no. So 2 in a row from Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore, and we are even at 4 here in game 1. Remember, it is single elimination now. 8 teams remaining. Shortly we'll have 4 teams left in the bracket. Taken away here by Rhodes. Joe nicely along that near wall, and he'll call timeout. Joe Rhodes will put the ball back into play and look to complete the comeback here in this opening game as he sets it up, strokes it down the middle. It's 1-0. Nice comeback by Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore as they score the final 3 goals of that opening game. As we get game number 2 underway. Trevor Park moving to the forward position. But Joe Rhodes right now feeling it. He and his partner Jonathan Moore with the momentum, and certainly Jonathan contributed with that big pull shot from goal to make it 4-3. Going towards the goal, kept out by Najjar. And up the table and in. The winner of this match will advance to the semifinals. And Rhodes continuing to shoot it well. Park will shoot a pull shot in, broke it home. Looking to bank it off that outside wall, then sent into the goal with a 5 by Rhodes. It's 2-2 here in game 2. And Trevor loses it. Rhodes almost able to pick it up on his 3-rod. Instead, it's Al Najjar who has possession. Trevor tried a little off-speed push kick, blocked by Moore. And here's Rhodes. Again, trying to go down the middle, the switch in the block, and the takeaway by Najjar. Another chance for Rhodes. He's able to get that one through and in. Park trying to heat up here, trying to get going. And it's 3-3. See the switch on the left side. Joe will set it up and look for the lead and find it. Match point for Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore. I believe this is a 1 versus 8 matchup, and the 8 has a match point. Talking about the seeding, of course, based on their performances in the qualifying rounds. And there's Trevor stroking it home to make it 4-4. So Park and Najjar trying to stay alive here. Joe Rhodes will put the ball into play. That bounce pass goes on goal where it's picked up by Najjar. Remains match point for Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore. And we've got a timeout, and Najjar's going to move back, and Park's going to move forward. We're even at 4 here in game number 2. Four here in the second game. Here's Trevor looking to extend the match to a third game, but the block here by Moore. Another block by Jonathan, who takes it away. You can see Al Najjar talking about a possible reset there. And there it is as Rhodes strokes it home. So a bit of an upset as Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore defeat Trevor Park and Al Najjar to advance to the semifinals. And we now have the final of the DYP here on table number 1. That's Tony Spradham and Rick Hernandez. On the left side, Joe Rhodes, Jonathan Moore on the right. Best 2 out of 3. The winner will take home $1,000, the loser $500. That one blocked back into the goal by Tony to open up the scoring here in game number 1. And Joe Rhodes, who has played very well in this elimination bracket, try to go straight here, taken away by Hernandez. Joe again through the high lane will get another opportunity to tie this first game up at 1. And he does. One here in game 1. Again, just best 2 out of 3. Tony shooting the pull kick. And hammering it home. Give a little bit of a delay to get more off that long hole. Boy, Tony's pull kick, so much fun to watch, isn't it? Joe. Another chance here. Joe just has to keep passing and scoring. Try to keep up with what Tony's doing on the other side of the table. Hernandez with a block, but Rhodes will get another chance to tie it at 2. And again, finding that hole down the middle. Tony tried to dink here. And Moore up the table and in. And Tony with a quick hitter here makes it 3-3 here in game number 1. Joe again trying to go with a high lane. Tony not going to give it to him in this situation. Rolls back to Hernandez, known as Rickster to his friends. Longtime player out of Southern California. Player who began playing back on the TS tour of the mid to late 1970s. That would be 40 plus years ago. Jonathan puts that one on goal. Blocked by Rickster. We're even at 3 here in game number 1. Rhodes will shoot for the lead. And Hernandez with a block. Rebound comes back to Joe. Another block here by Rickster. And a timeout called here. At 3 here in game 1. Scoring has slowed down, but Rhodes continuing to get opportunities. Give him enough shots, Joe's going to score, and he does here. 4-3. Tony. And the block there by Moore comes back to Tony on the rebound. And some good defense there by Moore. Unorthodox defense, but also somewhat unpredictable defense shown by Jonathan Moore. Tony went with a quick left hook, stabs that one wide. Still 4-3 here in game 1 in favor of Rhodes and Moore. Tony's going to look at the long here, you would think. 4-4. And a timeout called here. Rick Hernandez will put the ball back into play. It's 4-4 here in the first game. And that one up and in. It's 1-0. Second game underway. Joe Rhodes will put it into play. Rhodes and Moore led that first game 4-3. Tony with a push. And timeout called here. Sprayman will put the ball back into play. Sprayman thought about the snake shot. Now the pull kick. Nice block there by Jonathan. No, that's Rhodes back there. So Joe Rhodes switched back there defensively. The second one got through him, and it's now 2-0. Sprayman starting to take over the match. Sprayman and Hernandez have scored the last 5 here in this DYP final. If you've never been to a Warrior event, the DYP is one reason certainly to make your way to an event on the Warrior table. $2,000 in prize money. $1,000 for first, $500 for second. Oh, the nice pass here. Good block there.
No? You didn't think it was? No. Oh, really? Okay. I did. Okay. I was going to let you.
I think the music stopped me more than anything. I was like, wait, no more Sabbath?
Anyway, sorry about that. All right.
I honestly think it wasn't bad. It's cool. Right. You can hit the wall, but the ball doesn't really do anything. It sounds worse than it is. It's cool. I appreciate it. Okay?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Here's Tony. Again, coming back to block the dink was Moore. Stuffed back into the goal by Sprayman. It's match point, championship point for Sprayman and Hernandez. Tony will look to put it away right here. That one, though, is going to come right back towards Hernandez's goal. Now 4-1. Remains championship point for Sprayman and Hernandez. Tony for the win. And the split dink, and there it is. So Tony Spreadman and Rick Hernandez hold off Joe Rhodes and Jonathan Moore to win the DYP. And hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Baneberry, Tennessee, site of the 2018 Warrior Summer Splash, as we bring you some open doubles qualifying action. That's Billy Sargent, Jonathan Moore on the right, Trevor Park, Calvin Chan on the left side of the table. The qualifying rounds, it's just 1 game to 7, and they'll play 5 or 6 rounds of qualification action. And then the elimination brackets would be tomorrow in both open singles and open doubles. Of course, Trevor Park, the outstanding master level player. Several of them here this weekend. Obviously, we have Spreadman and LaFredo. Joe Rhodes here as well, the outstanding player out of Kansas City, Trevor Park. The Hall of Famer, Tony Bacon, competing here today in open doubles. One nothing lead early on for Park and Chan here in this first round. Make it 1-1 as Moore sends that one up the table and in. And a switch on the right side. Trevor Park, who talking to him, says he's been working on his game in anticipation of not only this one, of course, but next week's World Championships on the Tornado table in Lexington. And that one up the table, off a man and in. And then the foot stomp. And we got a timeout. To 1 lead early on, and Park's going to get another chance here. Trevor Park will be playing with Dylan Marshall next week. Kind of an intriguing pairing. I assume Park would be the forward. Dylan, of course, a very good goalie. This is Jonathan Moore. Looks like he's going to shoot a pull shot. Chan with a couple of blocks and a takeaway. 2-1 here in what is the only game of this qualifying round match. Turnover here by Chan, taken away again by Moore. And he's able to get that one through and in. It's 2-2. Trevor, whose 5 has always been outstanding. Goes with another quick shot here. Taken away by Billy Sargent. Shot on goal by Chan. Let's see if Trevor sets this one up. Of course, there are no snake shots, and so that's half the reason that Trevor's going with these quick ones. But he's not able to get through the defense of Billy Sargent, at least yet. Here's Calvin. Usually in a non-snake shooting situation, Trevor Park goes with a pull shot. And that pull shot has improved over time. And there you see the roller here as he brings it across, comes back down in the middle against Sargent, gets 3-2. Taken away here by Trevor. And usually it's Trevor's 5 that is the difference maker in the matches that he plays. He is, in most cases, the better passing player. To go with a rolling straight pull shot there. He's showing you some clever options, just has not had a lot of success putting it in so far. Still 3-2. Shot down the middle on goal by Chan. Put so much behind it. The rebound caroms to Moore on the 3-rock. And Park almost with a miraculous grab and a loss on the 5. And Park takes advantage. Let's see what Trevor does here. Looks like he's finally going to set it up. But Sargent takes it away. The inability to shoot the snake shot in open events at Warrior tournaments could be a hindrance, certainly, to many of the game's outstanding forwards. Obviously, it does not affect Todd LaFredo in the least, and that is one of the reasons, one of many reasons, why LaFredo has had a lot of success on the Warrior table. And there's Sargent bringing it over, coming back with that rolling push shot. And now Jonathan Moore with a chance to give his team the lead. Of course, the qualifying round's very important in terms of positioning. Especially for that first round match in the elimination bracket, when you really don't want to be that bottom seed and have to go up against a team like Spreitman and LaFredo, who are the huge pre-event favorites, of course. Really, it's just a matter of determining who will play them in the finals is what it's really about. And you saw Trevor with that nice little bump kick off the roll, and he has given his team that 4-3 lead. Taken away here by Park. And Trevor, it's 2 in a row, and we're going to get a switch on the right side. Sargent moving up, Moore moving back. And I think this is probably the stronger configuration for the team on the right side. Sargent certainly with the better 5. Park and Chain leading 5-3. And the pull kick here, hammered home by Billy Sargent. Park. Moore takes it away, but Trevor tried to come back with that quick pull kick. Trevor is showing us a tic-tac series that we really haven't seen from him before, utilizing both push and pull kicks and rolling pull shots. He hasn't had a lot of success with it, but he does find the short side here. Match point for Trevor Park and Calvin Chain. And a nice pass here. Trevor tried to end it with a quick pull kick, lost possession. Picked up by Moore, and Jonathan will get you some back here, and he gets one here. A 6-5 lead for Trevor Park and Calvin Chan here in this opening round qualifying match. Another one put on goal here by Moore, and Sargent scoops up the rebound. He wants to set up a push-up. Comes back with a rolling pull shot, and a good one, and it's 6-6. And a timeout called here. Trevor Park puts it into play. Pass along the wall, two of them. Second one stolen away by Sargent. And Billy now can give his team a win. What a nice comeback effort here by Sargent and Moore. And then Sargent loses it to the 5 of Park. Trevor's still working the wall. And Sargent hustling defensively, but it gets through to Trevor, who can win the match right here. Trevor Park. Blocked back the other way by Moore. Picked up by Chan, who quickly tried to go with a pull kick. Taken away by Sargent, who will call a second and final timeout. Billy Sargent will put it into play, shooting against Calvin Chan. Looking to win the match. Looking at that push shot, strokes it home, and there it is. So nice comeback by Billy Sargent and his partner Jonathan Moore as they defeat Trevor Park and Calvin Chan in a first round qualifying match. We've got more open doubles qualifying action for you down on table number 1. Derek Brown, Kristen Grogan on the right side. The Hall of Famer Tony Bacon and Brendan Flaherty, the boss man at Warrior Table Soccer, on the left side of the table. Derek Brown will put it into play. Derek out of the state of Ohio. Solid pro player. Going up against one of the great fibros of all time, certainly, and one of the great players in Tony Bacon. That long pull shot rimmed off both posts. Comes back to Derek. Back to when you're talking about the decade of the 1980s, certainly Tony Bacon would have to be in the conversation and on the short list when it comes to who was the player of that decade, the 1980s. Tony with several world championships during the 80s. We'll get an exact number for you. And a lot of that was due to the great fibro. Again, when talking about the best fibros of all time, you're going to put him on the relatively short list. They'll set up a pull shot. There's Kristen to get out there to make the block, and then a nice grab on the 3-rod by Derek Brown. Brown and Grogan striking first here in this opening game. In fact, it's just one game. Again, it's 1-7 in qualifying. And there's the 5 of Bacon again, getting him a possession on the 3-rod. Tony Bacon has evened it up at 1 here in this 1-7 format. During the decade of the 1980s, Tony Bacon won 6 world championship titles, which I think would put him at number 1 for the decade. You know, Steve Murray, of course, with a triple in 1987, I believe. Johnny Horton won a few world championship titles as well during that decade. Tony Bacon will put the ball back into play. It is 1-1. Again, it's a game to 7 in this second round of qualifying matches. Tony taking some time here. Shooting against Kristen, is able to get it through off her man. It's 2-1. Kristen, a very good defensive goalie. You're not going to drill Kristen Grogan. She is always seemingly able to get a piece of the opposing forward. Always fun to come here to Baneberry, and it's certainly a relaxed environment, but it's usually held the week before the Tornado World Championship, so players are preparing. There is an element of intensity. Derek Brown has evened it up at 2. That shot at him by Bacon, blocked and taken away by Kristen. Kristen just looking to clear it, but it's picked off by Tony. Bacon along the far wall. Tony's shot attempt again. Kristen getting in the way of that long effort, and the rebound spins back to Bacon on the 5. Tony Bacon, of course, a member of the United States senior team that won the gold medal in Hamburg last year at the World Cup. Of course, an integral member of that team. And, of course, Tony has been playing the game for better than 40 years and has competed on several different American tables during the course of his career. But one thing he showed overseas is that he was capable of also playing multi-table soccer on the 5 ITSF sanctioned tables. He was very good on every table. Of course, he had the 5 on every table. And when you shoot a pull shot, you can usually have some offensive success on any table. You saw the nice pass along the outside wall from Kristen Grogan, the 2-rod to the 5-rod of Brown, who advanced it, then couldn't hold on to it. And eventually it's Kristen again who has possession of it. I don't understand really why more teams don't use a passing series 2 to the 5. You saw it there as well as she tried to come back with a little pull shot. I think that was meant as a pass, and it was intercepted by Bacon. Tony looking to get a little bit of a better set here. And it pays off because he strokes that one squarely down the middle. Two lead for Bacon and Flaherty. Open doubles action in the second round of qualifying, and Derek Brown will now have an opportunity to even it at 3, and he does. Bacon again sneaks it along that outside wall. Tried to come down the middle. Kristen got out there to make the block. Rebound comes back to Bacon. And he strokes that one home to make it 4-3. See if Derek Brown has a response. Tried to brush that one through and taken away by Bacon. If Tony Bacon shoots close to 50%, it seems, and we don't have Clay Toomey keeping stats on this match. We may have Clay a little later on in the weekend. But if Tony can shoot around 50%, he's going to win most of the matches he plays. We don't get to see him play a whole lot, but he still has the grade 5. He's going to get possessions, and that's why if he's shooting the ball reasonably well, he's going to have success. He's going to have a lot of opportunities, and he's able to take advantage of this one. It's 5-3. Kristen says she blocked it 3 times. Again, it went off a couple of men. Brown nicely through the high lane. And comes back with that rolling pull shot. Derek shooting it well. Just needs more chances. He needs to be able to get a piece of Tony's 5, and that has not been the case so far, as Bacon certainly has had the best of it in the midfield. Today is qualifying day here at the Warrior Summer Splash. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be all about the elimination brackets. Chance to tie it up at 5 here for Derek Brown. But Flaherty able to take it away. Quick pass attempt by Brendan. Gets through to Kristen. Still 5-4. We'll put it back into play after it rolled to a dead stop. Grogan clears it, and then it's tapped in by Derek Brown with a 5. It's 5-5. She didn't sound all that apologetic, did she? Tony again, making it look like the brush up as he goes along that far wall. And again, we talked earlier about his exploits overseas at the World Cup. The 5 roll was like that on every table. I think he out-5'd everybody he played for the most part. And of course, the United States went on to win the gold medal in the senior men's event. Greg Mendel, who is also here this weekend, was a part of that team. Greg hit the final shot. And what a thrill it was for all of those guys to stand up on the podium with their gold medals around their necks and to hear the United States national anthem. Steve Murray also on that team. That's a pretty good team, isn't it? A couple of Hall of Famers and Bacon and Murray to start with it, and Greg Mendel, of course, who's quite a good player as well. Derek Brown now can give his team the lead. Brown takes his time, then executes the straight. It's match point. Nice play by Derek. And there's Kristen with a push kick to close it out. So Kristen Grogan and Derek Brown defeat Tony Bacon and Brendan Flaherty in a second round qualifying match. Got some more open doubles qualifying action over on table number 1. Steve Schneider, Harold Stalvey on the right side. Tom Heath, Larry Turner on the left. 1-7. This is the 4th round. Picked up here by Stalvey. Chance here for Steve Schneider. I believe the top 8 teams would qualify, as Schneider able to stroke home the pull shot. Tom Heath tried to go hard along the wall, couldn't hold on to it. Schneider able to poke it through with a chance to take a 2-0 lead. Got some more qualifying round action here for the next hour, and then the senior doubles event gets underway. They let anybody play that thing. In fact, the team of Mosher and Stevens will be competing in that senior doubles event, and I'm certain that at least one of their matches, hopefully more, will be right here on table 1. That's generally how it works. Schneider. Another beautiful long pull shot from Steve makes it 2-0.
Ready.
Stalvey tried to bank it off the outside wall. Picked up by Turner. Don't know much about Larry Turner, but the fact that he wants to set it up in a pin series here perhaps means he plays a little Bonzini. As many of the players in this region of the country, or at least just east of here in North and South Carolina, and Virginia a little bit as well, I think. That's Bonzini territory. That one might have been dead man, as Schneider just winds up and strokes home the long pull shot. Another chance here for Steve. At this stage, why would he go with anything but a long pull shot? Well, maybe a push kick off the roll. And we're going to get a switch.
Set. Ready. Sorry, guys.
5-0.
Yeah, he never sent the fucking ball.
You thought he'd already hit 2 men. I'm sorry. Set.
Oh, big stroke and pull shot from goal from Heath.
All right, ready?
And they're on the scoreboard. It's 5-1. Internet messaging, Facebook messaging with Clay Toomey, and he makes an interesting point, and it's one I kind of agree with. Certainly if I'm coaching a player, it's something I certainly agree with, and that's when you see the table tapping, and we see it a lot in France and in Europe, although seemingly less and less all the time overseas, but it's the table tap or the sorry after you slop one in. Clay, I think much like myself, a believer in that points are points. Goals are goals, however you get them. Nothing to be sorry about. But it's hard. It's a hard habit to break. When you think that everything must be pristine, must be perfectly executed and clean, and that really just isn't the case. If it goes in, it's a goal, and feel free to celebrate it if you want, but don't be sorry about it. And don't table tap. And we've seen the table tapping not only after goals, especially overseas, especially in France. Oftentimes it's after a pass that gets through off a man, and you'll see the table tap literally in the middle of a possession. So I'm curious about what other people's opinions of that are. Maybe that's something we'll talk about next week on the air and try to get an interactive conversation going on about whether you should be sorry for anything that you score. And I know there are differing opinions, and Clay Toomey making his very apparent. Thank you, Clay. There's Larry Turner, who very much looks like a Bonzini player. No apologies on that one as he fires that pin shot home. This is Harold Stalvey. Harold likes to bank the ball. Harold from just up the highway here in Tennessee. I want to say he's from Mountain Home, Tennessee, which I assume is in the mountains. And we are surrounded to some degree by mountains here in Baneberry, the Smoky Mountains, just a few miles away. One bank after another there. The two goalies hammering it back and forth. Action-packed one here, and that one results in a goal and no apology from the left side of the table. And suddenly it's 5-3. 3 in a row from Turner and Heath. Schneider got off to the quick start. We haven't heard much from Steve since then. The switch has been beneficial, with Tom Heath getting one of the 3 goals from this position here. Almost a giveaway here from Stalvey, picked up by Schneider. Let's see if he can get back into the match here as he does curve that one through. He'll shoot against Heath. Tom Heath. And the turnover here picked up by Schneider. Steve gets off the Schneid with that one. It had been a while since Schneider had scored. He does give his team a match point here, however. Larry Turner takes a look around, asks if the opponents are set, and puts the ball into play illegally. Taken away by Schneider. That one stubbed down the middle and then picked off by Steve. At least another round of qualifying action, and then we'll have senior doubles qualifying. It's all about qualifying today, folks. And then tomorrow, the elimination brackets and the battle for what is a pretty nice payday for those who are most successful. And a chance here for Steve Schneider to close it out. Started off the match going long, long, long from this position. Did go straight against Heath, then goes down the middle here. And there it is. So, Steve Schneider and Harold Stalvey win in this 4th round qualifying match. And let's head over to table number 1 once again for our final round of qualifying. That's Tony Spredeman, Todd LaFredo on the left, and a guest. That's Robert Yates, Jason McCall on the right side, and it's Yates getting the scoring underway. Remember, it's 1-7. Teams jockeying for position in the elimination round. Tony shooting the pull kick. Makes it 1-1.
Ready?
Yep.
Taken away here by Spredeman. I don't recall the last Warrior event I was at where it was not Spredeman and LaFredo winning. It's been a few years. I'm going to say it's been 3 or 4 at least since they last did not win a Warrior Open Doubles Championship. Two quick ones from Tony, and they're up 2-1. Taken away and then passed along that far wall. Looking at the dink. It's 3-1.
Set.
Yep.
Yates couldn't hold on to it. Then a nice save by LaFredo to make sure he did. And hammered on goal by Todd. Three-1 lead for Spredeman and LaFredo. They've scored the last 3. And LaFredo is kind of a counterpunch, a reaction play. And no apology. Yates gets it through. And the pass, 2 to the 5. Talked about that earlier. It's somewhat surprising that more teams don't do that. Fairly high percentage play when executed. And anything you can do to get your forward more possessions, I think it's a good thing. Especially when you have a 5-rod like that guy. Nice block there by McCall. Up off the back wall by Tony. I know you're saying Tony gets plenty of possessions on his own. Why does he need to get more? But the more you get, the more success you're going to have. And Tony has success with a pull kick here, and it's 5-1. Spredeman and LaFredo all business here today, and understandably. Again, the pass to the 5. Yeah, there's McCall getting on the scoreboard.
Set.
Yes.
5-2 now in favor of Tony and Todd. On goal by Jason, picked up here by Yates. Robert trying to come down the middle with a pull shot. Tony. Another block there by Jason, and grabbed nicely on the 3-rod. Taken away by LaFredo. Match point for Tony Spredeman and Todd LaFredo. And LaFredo closes it out with a tic-tac pull kick, and that's it for qualifications here at the 2018 Warrior Summer Splash. We'll head to the elimination bracket, which will take place tomorrow here in Baneberry, Tennessee. And let's head over to table number 1 as we now have some mixed doubles action in the 3rd round of qualifying. Tony Spredeman, Stella Gallion on the left side of your screen. Derek Brown, Donna Carroll on the right.
Working on one. All right, getting ready for it. Good game. Yep. All ready? Ready.
Just one game to 7. Again, we're still in the qualifying round of mixed doubles. And one's going to sneak in. Tony quickly evening it at 1. And sprayed him in again. A tic-tac, then come back with a pull kick. Here's Stella, and up the table as she angles it in. It's 3-1. And Stella looks like she's having fun, but why wouldn't she be? She's playing with perhaps the best player in the world. And they're doing well, and Derek does well here to stroke home the pull shot. It's now 3-2. Spredeman looking at the push shot. He's got a good one. Well, Donna able to block it and take it away. Tony banks it off the wall, picks it up. I'll go back to the pull kick, it would appear. Delayed release, went wide of the goal, angled towards the opposite end by Brown and picked up by Stella, who sends that one up, and then Tony able to snag it. And the delayed release this time successful. It's 4-2. And Brown with an answer. Derek can tie it. He does. And a timeout called here. 4-4. Mixed doubles teams jockeying for position. Spreadman hammers home the pull kick. Brown. We're even at 5. Oh, look at that one. And Donna, he just knows wasn't much anybody could have done about that one. 6-5 lead. Tony switching back defensively. Stella watches as Derek Brown goes through the lane. He'll shoot against Spreadman. Yeah, he strokes it home. You cut that one back down the middle, but nothing to be sorry about. Goals are goals, Derek, and it's 6-6. Tony back to forward. Derek has moved back into defensive position. Spreadman able to rattle it through. See what he's going to do here against Brown. Push shot. Pull kick. Tony Spreadman and Stella Gallion defeat Derek Brown and Donna Carroll in about 5 minutes to win the qualifying round match. And as we head towards an eventual elimination bracket, which I believe will be tonight. And we now move to the mixed doubles elimination bracket here on table number 1. Over on the left side, that's Billy Hayden in the forward position, Tommy Bagley at goal. And on the right, Todd LaFredo, Kristen Grogan. Call it a quarterfinal match in the elimination bracket. 6 teams qualified. One nothing lead early on for Todd LaFredo and Kristen Grogan. It's best 2 games out of 3. I believe we're going to finish the mixed doubles competition here tonight. It's about 11 o'clock here in eastern Tennessee on the banks of the French Broad River in Baneberry. Really is pretty country here at the foot of the Smoky Mountains. And of course, next week, starting Thursday afternoon, as Tommy Bagley comes down the middle. That's something Tommy's been doing for years, that push shot from goal. And we're even at 1 here in game number 1. But Thursday afternoon will be about 120 miles or so from here in Lexington, Kentucky for the 2018 Tornado World Championships. Always one of the highlights of the American Tour. LaFredo and Grogan up 2-1. Bagley out there to make the block and take the ball away. We'll bring you 5 days of live coverage starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday from Lexington. If you're an Inside Foos subscriber, you will, of course, watch that event for free. That's part of your annual subscription. And for those of you watching, you'll be getting those codes early Thursday to watch the event live. Of course, I'll be there to cover it. As far as commentary goes, our good friend Clay Toomey will be there with his abilities as a statistician as well for the big open events. And LaFredo now gives his team a 4-1 lead. Mary Moore, of course, the promoter of that event, I think expecting the neighborhood of 500 players for that one at the Clarion Inn in North Lexington. And game number 1 goes to LaFredo and Grogan, and the teams will switch sides. Meanwhile, we'll peek in over on table number 2, another quarterfinal match. Derek Brown, Donna Carroll versus Joe Rhodes and Lexi Gabriel. Looks like they're tied at 1 in the first game. Their opening game not going quite as quickly as the one on table number 1, which we will return to as soon as the players wrap and prepare to get that second game underway. So Todd LaFredo, Kristen Grogan leading 1-0. Now on the left side, Bill Hayden, Tommy Bagley on the right as we get the second game underway. Hayden opens up the scoring here. LaFredo able to tie it up at 1 apiece here in the second game. It's 1-0 in favor of LaFredo and Grogan. Here's Billy Hayden out of the state of Kentucky. Tommy Bagley, his partner from Utah and Colorado, and now living in Mexico. Hayden will look to give his team the lead. And he finds that short side. LaFredo evening it at 2. And Todd able to take it away from the 5 of Hayden. Quick pass along the wall. Hayden with a block. LaFredo goes through the lane and then snags the ball and will set it up. Had to go inside, taken back by Bagley. 2-2 here in the second game, and LaFredo with a steal. Still chipping away at the short side of the goal. For him to whip out along here shortly. Cut that one back into Bagley's defense, but we'll get another try here, and then does come down the middle off the roll to make it 3-2. Hayden with a big possession here. Here's Todd. Stoking it home. Match point for Todd LaFredo and Kristen Grogan as they look to advance to the semifinals, and LaFredo can send them there right here. But it's blocked by Bagley. Ball comes back to Todd. And Tommy able to take it away. LaFredo getting a lot of possessions. And Bagley with a nice job of keeping it out and then keeping it in. Another chance here for LaFredo. And he gets that one through, and there it is. So Todd LaFredo and Kristen Grogan defeat Bill Hayden and Tommy Bagley to advance to the semifinals in mixed doubles.